Yo ho ho. It is a beautiful day. A little chilly, but beautiful. Oh, and welcome to the worm and all that stuff. You know how it goes. I really wish I could be working on the cabin right now, the inside of it. That sucker sure is getting pretty. Tito was out yesterday. We spent a little bit of time working on the foundation for his cabin, which is in the opposite corner of the property here. And last night decided to leave the heater on in the cabin here for the first time. I think it was the first time overnight. I wanted to turn it on low and see what low was on that thing, because it needs to stay on almost all winter now. Any nights that are below freezing, I got to keep my water in there. So I got up this morning, checked it, 42 in there, which is perfect. I didn't want the low to be 58 or something just because it eats through that much extra propane. So we like 42. But for the next day or two, I got to work on this thing. It needs to get closed in. If anybody hasn't seen the build videos for this, I'll put links here and in the description. I don't know what this was, maybe 2 or 3 videos. Cutting the trees, milling it all, chainsaw milling it, and making it up as I go, as always. But this is my kind of fantastic shower that I use year-round. My plan is to use a buddy heater. I bought a bigger buddy heater. This is the one, I just set it out here. I haven't used it out here, but this is what I've been using in my tent and in the deer castle for the last couple years. And since this thing has kind of a high ceiling, and I'm only going to use the heater when it's well below freezing, I didn't think that was really going to heat the whole place up. So I got the one that has 2 elements, burners, whatever, in it instead of just the one. I don't know. We'll see if that's overkill or not. But in order to hold the heat in this winter, when I need a shower, we're going to close this thing in. I dragged my industrial sewing machine, portable industrial machine up here, all my sewing stuff, and the fabric I ordered, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. I got it the whole roll up here. There's a lot of fabric to do just the enclosure for this thing. So we got to invent some panels to put on here. When I decided to build this thing and I'd say I designed it. I just started building and this is how it turned out. But I was thinking about making some giant like wooden removable sides or like hingeable or something. I couldn't really figure out a good way to hinge them. I do like this open because I use this, every single day year round. So when it's not freezing cold out, I'd like to be able to swing these open, or this is why I'm doing it in canvas. I'm just going to be able to pop these off. So I'm thinking probably just do one big panel on each side. And when I braced this, I left this extra space here so I can snap the canvas to it, and that way it's on the same plane, as you can see, as this. So if I put these all the way up to the edge, then you kind of have to jog from one board to the other. So I think I'll just do regular snaps. I'll have to see if I have enough snaps to do this whole thing. Otherwise I've got the twist fasteners, they screw in, and then the canvas will have an eyelet goes over, and then you twist the little fastener close. Those are really nice, but they're kind of expensive, and I doubt I have enough to do this whole thing. I do have some leftover flexible window material, which you guys have seen in other videos. I think I did the windows in the deer castle with that flexible plastic, and I think the windows in the lean-to are the same thing. It's just, I used to do this I had a business many years ago in Southern California, just doing enclosures on boats, custom canvas work, so I have a ton of stuff left over. And all the little projects I've done since then, I'm just using scraps and stuff that I've been toting around the country ever since then. The only thing I had to buy for this was I didn't have a huge amount of the same color canvas. So we'll see. I don't know if I got enough. I might have 500 snaps. I might have 500 of the twist lock fasteners. I'm not sure. We'll see which one's still around in my stash. So this is going to be, let's see. Sort of one panel. I'm thinking I might maybe I'll just put 2 zips up there. So you could unzip one, you could just fold it over a little bit to get in, or if you wanted, maybe I can make it so you zip them up and you could roll the whole thing up and tie it up there. Because there will be a lot of in-between seasons, one night I want to shower, it's 20 degrees, so I want the whole thing closed up and the heater on, and the next day it might be 40 degrees, in which case I'm not going to bother running the heater, and it would be nice to be able to roll that up and like let some of the steam out without having to unsnap the whole thing. So yeah, let's do that. Let's do a couple giant zippers. I'm sure I've got enough zipper to do that. So I'm thinking the front panel will go like to here. Maybe we'll just go like an inch in from the edge, make a line, and that's where the panel will go. Snap on there. Same thing up there. Maybe we'll come down a couple inches and it'll snap on. I'm gonna have to fill these in. I'd prefer not to do that with canvas, so I'll see if I got enough cedar scraps that I've milled up to just to fit in there. Oh, and we're gonna have to do the same in the back there. Yeah, those are gonna take, I'll put some 1-inch cedar blocks in there. That's nice because there, you probably can't see, but there is a little lip right there, so I can just screw the board right onto that, cut little squares for each one. And then this is all gonna need to be caulked too. I think I still have a case of my my roof tar I use on everything. I caulk everything with. So I could do that now. I think I'll do that very last. It'd be nice to do it now when the day's like in the 30s. I guess it doesn't really matter if it hardens or solidifies or whatever it does. It'll still be windproof, and that's the only reason I'm going to caulk this in. But I think I'll do the caulking once all the canvas sides are done. I'll snap them on and then caulk it, because they go up and down so many times I'm going to end up getting roof tar all over my fancy canvas. So I just got to clean a bunch of tools out of here. Let's check out the temperature again. Yeah, barely warm. It says 32 outside and 43 in here. That's as low as the heater goes. You can see the flames just barely on. Yeah, if I'm going to work in here, I'm going to crank it up, but I won't bother doing that. I'm going to be in and out of here a whole bunch and still be wearing my snow clothes, so no sense in getting it too hot until I have to sit in here, which will probably be tomorrow. So I'll go get the sewing machine and all my sewing stuff. If a couple of you guys want to just clean all this crap up, I'd appreciate it. This is my favorite way to get rid of scraps. Well, I have one board that's big enough to fill one of those gaps. Everything else is too small, so I think I'm just going to cut them into pieces and put them vertically in there, stack them next to each other. I think I'm just going to stack a bunch of them side by side like that. I guess they're going to have to be caulked in between because those will shrink up too. So I think I'll route that side. Might as well. I noticed, see, I planned far ahead to take stuff back apart. I didn't pound the nails in these top two boards, so I'm going to pop this off too. I think I'll route around the corners. Probably route this edge too. And now, after having done that on the cabin, routing everything ahead of time, I wish I'd routed all this stuff, but I'm not going to rip all those nails back out. But it will make it a lot easier to do the top there and caulk in there if I pull that off and get around the edges. Whoa. That's interesting. I know I always say this, how much the lumber changes color, but this would have been in the sunlight, so that's why it's yellow. But check out the back. How much sunlight is coming all the way? Well, I guess that is south facing. Look at the color difference. That's from inside. Crazy, huh? Or maybe you don't think it's that crazy. I do. Kind of a waste of screws, but I think it's the easiest way to put them up there. Pretty ugly, but all that's going to get caulked in up there. Actually, all of it, all the way around, so that's a good use of scrappage. Looks pretty sweet. I don't know if you can see them back there. And then all along there should do just fine. You know, of all the things that I could have done today, this is the one I really didn't want to do. I wasn't really into. But if you think about it, it's actually still pretty fun. Hopefully you can find a way to live like this someday, where the one thing you don't want to do, but you have to do, is still a frickin' blast. I don't know that for many people it would be living out in the middle of the woods alone, but there's probably something out there for you. Just keep looking, man. Just keep looking. Well, it's already starting to get dark, so I'm gonna clean this crap up and actually use the shower. I need it. I haven't figured out how I'm gonna pattern this yet. If I'm gonna use patterning material, plastic, or if I'm just gonna do it right on the canvas. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow. It'll all just come together. Oh boy, we better get this sucker patterned fast. There's a high wind warning for this afternoon through, I think, all the way through tomorrow. So putting patterning plastic up there in the breeze ain't gonna be too easy. Dragged all my sewing stuff up here, so I don't know if you can see. That's a nice green. I usually use Sunbrella, and when I did this, had a business doing this, I always use Sunbrellas. Really the highest quality waterproof and sunproof fabric you could get. Yeah, this is made by Top Notch, or that's the brand of the fabric. I don't know if that's the maker or the model, but they got pretty good reviews and it's new stuff, so I thought I'd give it a go. It was a little bit cheaper. I think this was like 20 bucks a yard, and Sunbrella would be like 30 to 35. It's not cheap stuff, but if you use the cheap stuff, it'll be dead in a year or two. I've seen Sunbrella on boats in San Diego where it's just sun year-round that is 10 years old and it still has all the color, still in good shape, still waterproof. So as much as I hate to spend money, you know, I got that stuff. Hopefully that shower will be here for a very long time. I think I've done a sewing video or two before. I don't know if I've ever used this, but this is what I use for patterning. It's just plastic. Like, you could pattern, you know, with a tarp like that or something. Yeah, actually that would be pretty good, except you can't see through it. But if you just use regular plastic, it's fine for smaller stuff. But if you want to pull it, you can stretch it, and then it kind of screws up your whole pattern. So these this reinforced stuff is really nice. So that roll of fabric is 60 inches. Let's see how it would fit on here. It's a weird triangle, so I'll probably put the fabric going this direction, and then it looks like there'll probably be a little triangle left over there. And then I'll just have to dig through the strata glass scraps. Oof. And see what size or shape windows we could put in there. Let's see, we'll probably square off of this. I'm in 2 inches or something, and that's where the panel will snap like that. And then we might as well do this the same. Come in 2 inches, snap it like that. So unlike on boats, this is all perfectly flat, so it shouldn't be, yeah, it shouldn't be difficult at all. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to, I better put my battery on the generator for a little bit. I'm gonna sew this all off battery power, of course. And the next couple days weather is gonna be so crappy, I better get it charged right now. Usually for anything but rough wood, I'd put double-sided tape all over this, and then you could take the patterning material and just stick it to it and move it around, unstick it, restick it. But I don't think that tape's going to stick to this wood, so I'm just going to staple it on there. I usually just make a few marks on here, take it all down, and then use a ruler to draw all the lines, but this is so nicely lined up here, and it just happens to be exactly 2 inches, which is the width of this ruler. I'll just go ahead and mark it that way. I could also cut all this crap off so it's not blowing in my face, but if I leave it like this, I can make another pattern on the same piece. One thing I found in doing a bunch of this is you really want to make sure you mark every single thing you could possibly mark, because you take this piece of plastic down, you go, might be even a couple days later, and you're like, oh man, where was that snap? Or like in this case, might want to know where that towel bar is. It's kind of a pain to measure it, or I'll never get this stuck back up in exactly the same way, the way I'm doing it here. So I'm just going to mark towel bar here, and then I'm gonna put, just gonna put some kind of a horizontal line on there, because also when I take this back, there's no horizontal anymore. I don't know what size windows I'm gonna put in, but at least I'll have that horizontal line to measure from. Might even just draw a couple lines right here on the edge of the wood, because then if I do have a giant piece of glass and I want to make it fit this shape, I'll know where the edge is. Otherwise, again, you just kind of gotta guess. That's the towel bar. Oh yeah, it's a good thing I marked that. Similarly, even if I have a horizontal line on here, I might want it a certain distance above that towel bar, or I don't know, even below it. I guess it doesn't matter. So this doesn't have anything to do with anything other than horizontal. Left panel out. No, that's the right panel, you dummy. Yeah, let's just put a few dots on here where the edge of the wood is. So if I was trying to make one piece somehow wrap around here, if there's a weird, you know, curved shape you had to do, and you have to do separate panels, the whole reason you pattern it like this is you draw the lines on one panel, cut it right on that line with scissors, and then you can lay that piece of plastic right on the fabric, trace around it, you know, add whatever extra you need for like the seam allowance or whatever. I spun this piece of plastic around, put it on this side, and I don't know if you can see right there is the only spot they overlap, right at the peak of both of them. So this is the top of the right side. There's the top of the left side. It's happening. I'm gonna turn on the heat. Watch this. Been waiting for this moment for an awfully long time. I have turned the heater on a couple times, not for any reason, just kind of playing with it, letting it run for a couple hours, but this is the first time I'm gonna turn it on and actually use it. So this is a day to I hope you guys are gonna celebrate this. Well, I'll probably celebrate by eating a grilled cheese or something. Look at this big workspace. It's sweet. It's probably the only project I'll get to do in here like this. I tidied everything up and then swept, and I actually vacuumed the floor. I've got a Ryobi battery powered vacuum, so I can roll all this stuff out, do all my tracing on the floor, and hopefully I don't pick up a bunch of, there's so much dirt and sand and grime and everything, I hate to get it on the fabric and then put it through my sewing machine. So hopefully this will be clean enough. I think it will. I'm going to do all these edges the same. So basically I like to have a double thickness to put snaps through. If you just put them in here, they tend to like stretch the fabric out. So I should do 2 inches there, and then I'll do another 1/2 inch here, and it gets folded underneath, so it'll get sewn like that. Then you won't have that raw edge, and you have a nice thick piece to snap to. This actually would be a lot easier to mark if I cut this, but it's such a nice giant piece of plastic. I'm sure I could make a bunch more crap with this. So I have to draw this line now. So in order to do that, I gotta get it all nice and tight. Then I gotta get my arm underneath and mark from the bottom where all these dots are. So you can see now why you'd normally just pattern it, and then you'd cut right along there, lay it on here, and then trace the edge. So here's the line I traced from the plastic, and I'm just going to draw this one out because I need to cut this little corner fabric off here to add on over there. Just come out 2.5. Somebody didn't make this floor in here too flat. I hope this material's decent because it feels pretty plasticky. Oh, it's 53 in here and I got the sweats. Had to turn the heater off. Let's see, we can get that little triangle out of this hopefully. if you were trying to make this really, really nice, you'd probably cut this corner out of a fresh sheet because the weave is like turned sideways. When you put it on there and the sun shines on it, it looks like two different colors, but we don't care about that stuff around here. Might as well cut them both out while we got the floor clear. How cool is it that you can do this without a power plug in a wall? This is a really, really sweet machine. It's all cast, really heavy duty. It's made by Sailrite. Ultra Feed LSC1. I think they had a red one and a blue one. They probably don't even look like this anymore. It's probably 10 years old or so. But the one, I think the one is, oh no, it's the Z. LSZ is zigzag. So you actually have control to do it, how wide you want the stitch to be. And the slightly cheaper one is just straight stitch. I added this too. This is solid, this flywheel. When you really are cranking through thick stuff, it tends to just move right through it easier than the plastic wheel that comes on here. You can also put a handle on here and have somebody crank it while you sew. So if you had no electricity at all, you could still sew pretty much anything you wanted. It doesn't have the deepest throat here, so when you have to put a whole bunch of material through it, you really have to coil it up just to fit it through there. But it'll still it'll sew through anything you can put underneath that foot. If you could actually fit your finger bones in there, it would sew through it. I probably sewed, I don't know, 12 layers of this canvas plus other material plus polycarbonate for glass, like bulletproof glass. It sounds like a machine going through it, but it'll cruise through anything. I'm gonna have to do this with the headlamp. Can't see what's going on. Machine's so cold it barely goes. You can see all the dew. It's a big block of metal. That's why I always carry two sets of headphones. One fits nicely under my hat, and the other is noise canceling. Gonna have to go noise canceling. Can't stand all this noise. It's horrible. I'm listening to Armchair Expert with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Pretty good show. He's always, well, both of them are always good. Armchair and Neil. Unfortunately, I sewed that a little bit too tight, but I can stretch it out. Just gonna continue the lines onto the scraps that I sewed on. So this is the line that we drew on the pattern, and then I added 2.5 inches, so it's going to fold under like that, and then that little edge will fold under, and we'll sew it like that, and then you can put snaps right in there. I like to crease all these first. It makes the sewing a lot quicker and more fun. You can just hold the pedal down and zip through it all. It will take the end of your finger right off if you do enough of this, sanding it right down. Man, it's bizarre to be in here all warm and working on stuff and look out, see the snow. I thought when there was snow on the ground you were supposed to be cold all the time. So that's just one fold under. Now I gotta go back and stitch all this edge underneath here. Man, it is toasty in here, but I gotta admit, my feet are frozen. There is a reason you put insulation in the floor, apparently. I'll have to get around to that, maybe next year. There you go. Looks pretty good. Alright, well, you guys stay in here where it's warm. I gotta go find some lunch somewhere out in the cold. It wasn't too bad. I had Dinty Moore beef stew, which I don't mind at all. Unfortunately, I tend to buy stuff like that in large quantities, and in the winter, especially in the spring and fall, it like freezes and thaws and freezes and thaws, and a can of that will turn into like the consistency of like cream of wheat or something. It's really gross. But this was a fresh can, so I'm good to go. Just gotta sew up the other side panel, and we'll see about some windows. Alright, getting both sewn up. This is a little more elastic than I'm used to. You see the edges are a little scalloped, but once it's put on, it'll stretch out just fine. You'd normally want to figure the windows in when you pattern the whole thing and trace the pattern with the windows and everything right onto the fabric, but I wasn't really sure where this little seam was going to be for that extra piece I had to add on, nor was I sure of how much glass I've got. Let's see. Be pretty small windows, like 20 inches tall or 20 inches wide, I guess. I got one more piece here, about the same. Actually, it is a big enough piece of glass. So this is the left side. The pole is vertical like this. If you're looking in through the left side of the shower, there's that board that goes across here that has all the hooks on it. And that's what I marked, I think right here. There's a dotted line going across. And down there, and it comes back and goes down and attaches to the floor. And then here's the one line I put in here with the level, just for the heck of it, the horizontal line. It's actually pretty good. I can just line the window up with the bottom of that. And then here's the top edge, and just below that I put the dotted line because that's where the end of the board is that this whole thing will attach to. So when you're looking from out here, right here is board, and then here is open looking through. So that piece of glass is only, less than 2 feet. I might as well just take what I got there, cut it in half, exactly in half. I'll fit half of it here and half on the other side. This is where it gets really hard for you to see what's going on. So we got clear plastic on top of the canvas and clear window glass on top of that. But you can see the piece of glass here, and that's the shape of the panel that's going on the side of the shower. So, it could stretch from pretty much side to side. Yeah, let's just cut this sucker in half. No sense in keeping filming this if you can't tell what I'm doing in there, so let me just show you real quick. Plus, it's kind of nice to come out here, feel the cold air, and then walk back inside and feel all toasty again. I could just do that all day long. So this is the hook board I'm talking about here, and when I put the plastic on the outside, I just drew a dotted line around it. So I drew the horizontal line just above this, maybe 2 inches up, so I'm just going to use that. And if the glass is, say, this tall, maybe it won't fill in this corner all the way, but that's fine. I'll just keep it maybe a few inches in from that upright, maybe a few inches in from here, and a few inches in from here, and then just a couple inches above that. So as much as I can get out of that, whatever it is, 20-inch wide piece of glass, I'll stick in there. Wow, those things are almost the same height, the towel rack stick and the pegboard. So yeah, I'll probably do the same thing on this side, just try to fit as much glass as I can in up there. I think there is maybe a whole sheet of that Strata-glass in there. I think it's Strata-glass. Strata-glass is like soft when it's hot anyway, or warm out. It's quite soft and pliable. Like you could roll it up pretty easily. When it's cold like this, it takes a while to warm up. It's gonna be hard to get it to fold all the way out flat so I can sew it without it like crinkling everything up. I also thought I had some scraps of polycarbonate too, but these all feel flexible. Wow, there's a whole, at least one whole sheet in there. I don't know, those might be pieces too. Well, that's cool. We got some stuff to do a big window on the front if we want. Polycarbonate is super cool to work with canvas. It's way more rigid, but it's almost as clear as glass. Whereas the Strata-glass stuff, it's clear, but there are kind of ripples in it. Like this stuff is soft enough that you could, you can fold it and squeeze it and stuff. I don't know if you can tell that there are kind of ripples in your vision. Definitely give you a good hand workout cutting this stuff with scissors. What's up? Where you been? It got too dark to film anything in here last night, so I finished this one window and then I got to do the second one now. That's all sewn in. Looks alright. It's not my proudest work ever, but it'll do for a shower. That's the outside you just saw. And that's the inside. I don't know if you can tell the difference. This has a 1-inch piece of fabric over the edge of the glass there. I think, yeah, this is the vertical part. And the inside. So let's go ahead and do the second one, just like this. I'm going to put this down just to have something to keep the glass off the floor. So the glass is just going to stick on the back side of this, and I marked the front where the window goes, so I'm just going to redraw a couple of the lines on the back here, just for reference. It's nice to have this heater here to do this. This still has quite a memory to it, so if you try to lay it out like that and tape or sew it on, and that this isn't perfectly flat with the canvas, then something comes up a little buckled. So I'm going to see if I can get it a little softer. I didn't take enough time doing that on the last one, and it didn't fit together quite right, and I saw it and I just went for it anyway. That should be better. I like to use this stuff. It's a double-sided tape that's made just for canvas working. It sticks great to this glass and pretty well to this canvas. I think this canvas has like a waxy coating on it or something, not like the regular Sunbrella. So I don't know if this will stick quite as well, but if you do edges like this where you want to fold it over and then sew it, and you want to fold it and have it stay there, most people would just pin it, but you can also just put this tape on it. When you actually sew through this, it kind of makes a waterproof seal as well, so water's not going through all those needle holes. So I'm going to flip it over, probably put 2 lines of tape around the outside of it, stick it on, and then we'll flip it over and trace some lines where we're going to cut the canvas out. Sometimes kind of seems unnecessary to double this tape, but it sucks when you go to pick this up and move it around and sew it, and if the glass falls off of the canvas while you're sewing, it's a real pain. You got to take it all out and stick it back down and put pins in it or something. So I like to just overdo with the tape, if anything. Peel these ends back a little bit and get it in place. And then you can just peel them from underneath like that. And stick it down. I'm going to try to stretch this fabric if I can too before I stick it so it comes out nice and even. It's like playing Twister. So this is the inside of the shower. The fabric is still on the other side, so we got to cut that fabric out from the other side. So I'm going to flip it over. If you just cut it out and sewed it, it'd be fine, except that you would still see this tape on the back side. So what you can do is cut, this is roughly an inch, so you can cut a 2-inch piece of fabric and then fold a 1/2 inch under and a 1/2 inch under, if that makes sense, so you end up with a 1-inch strip that goes along here. Or you can buy a roll of this stuff, which is that exact thing except pre-made. So this is 1 inch wide, and the other side's already folded under, and I think, like, I don't know how it's connected there, so you can't unravel it. So you can just put this right down over top of here with tape, and then you won't see that tape through the window when you sew it on there. I wouldn't say if you were doing something like this just one time, I don't think it'd be worth buying that stuff. I think you can buy it by the foot, but since I got it and I end up doing this stuff like once a year, I'll sew something like this. I just, you know, get the rolls of it still. Do the other side. So I can just feel the edge of the window and put a couple marks on the edge. So here's the edge right here. And remember, there's tape and that black strap is right along here. So we want the green to go all the way down to there. And then I also want the green to fold under just a little bit, so we don't just have like a raw cut edge right there. So I'm going to go down, I think that's 1 inch webbing material, and then I'm going to go another 1/2 inch. I just cut out this inside line here. So this part, this 1/2 inch thing just needs to get tucked underneath now. Pull that tape up a little bit, fold it, and you can see the back side of the black webbing there. And just fold it over right to the edge of it, so when you sew it, you won't see the black, and from the other side you won't really see the green. Alright, let's try to do this without ripping the window out of here. If you're a person that likes to make stuff, you should be ashamed of yourself if you don't have a good industrial sewing machine. Oh, and a 3D printer. I think I dropped this sewing machine once and broke this guide off, so I could see that's 3D printed. I mean, you could make it out of wood or metal or something too, but it's kind of cool when you can just print it out. The other good thing is when I drop it again and break that off, I still have the file and I could just print it out again. That's why I need this cabin finished. I need to keep my 3D printer set up all the time. It's kind of a weird thing to say for a guy that doesn't have power. I get it. No, I get it. So that's one trip around. That was the part we folded under. And then we'll just go one more time around right there. I'm glad I put this little corner in here. I think it will look kind of cool instead of just a big square or rectangle right in the middle. Well, I I'm going to put all the snaps on it in here. Maybe we'll take one of those panels outside, just make sure it fits first. I'm trying to upload a video while I'm sewing in here. It's kind of nice. I can just set it up where it's warm and let it go. Yeah, it's been an hour and a half. We got just a little over 4 hours to go to upload one stinking video. This is the first time I've been able to bring my computer and the batteries in here and everything with the heat on and just let it go. This is sweet. I always upload them out here through the hotspot on my phone, which is why it's so slow. There's not very much signal out here. But I'm also at the same time listening to books and podcasts and stuff. It's funny, when I do both at the same time, my phone gets really hot. I had to put my phone in the window so my wireless headphones will work out there, and it'll still reach to my computer to upload. I think these headphones are good enough that if I go stand over there, I can still listen to my podcast. I'm listening to my favorite today, Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. Bunch of science, critical thinking. Best podcast I've ever come across. I have a feeling this is going to come out a little bit smaller because the stitching was a little tight, but we'll see. Let's put it right on that mark and see what happens. Oh, it's looser. Significantly, like by an inch or so. Huh. I think it stretches different amounts in different directions. I mean, I haven't pulled that up tight, but these big bubbles in it. That's not kosher. Does look pretty sweet from inside though, doesn't it? Yeah, that's cool. I'm going to stretch it so all three corners are nice and tight. I'm going to mark those right on the wood, and then I'll take this thing down, put all the snaps in it, and when I come back, at least I can start by snapping the three corners in exactly the right spot. And then the rest of them, as I go down, I'll just have to stretch and stretch and stretch and keep putting the snaps in the wood. That might be just enough to put all these on. Some of them are a little bit short. Got some longer ones that screw into the wood, and then some real short ones. Might just have to use a mix of them for now, and then I can order some longer ones. Even the short ones would be good enough to hold it up for now, but when you have to reef on it to pull it off, you can rip those out. Usually try to pull these down, put your pencil right where it is, and slide it out of the way without moving your pencil. See if we can pull some of these wrinkles out of here. That's not too bad. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Actually looks pretty sweet, doesn't it? Especially with the cabin there. That's a good looking cabin shower combo if I've ever seen one. It's going to look really cool with the front on there too. Definitely get a little bit of heat loss out of here, but it's going to be, you know, only turn the heater on for 10-15 minutes, do the thing, get out of there. Yeah, that's stretched out all right. This will actually get a lot flatter once it gets some sun on it or gets really warm inside. It's a little bit wrinkly, a little bit weird and stretchy, but that's all right. Whew, might have stretched that a little bit tight. Yeah. What do you think of that? Oh, I forgot I gotta caulk this whole thing too. We still gotta, oh yeah, well I gotta caulk certainly all those and the entire back wall, and yeah, these need to be caulked. I mean, it's not a giant deal. You know, if there's a bunch of wind, you'll still get a little bit of wind between the canvas and the wood, but yeah, it'd be nice to do that since you can see through all of these. Just keep a little more heat in. Oh, it's really cool. I like it. It came out pretty nice. Definitely not going to get that canvas again. It might be good for some projects where you don't, I don't know. I can't really think of what you'd make that you wouldn't want it super tight. But I guess for this job for right now, it works. So as soon as I can get the front made and put on here, then we can rig up all the propane. I think I've got all the right hoses already. I'm just going to tee off of this one. So that goes to the burner there. And then the other one. Only place I can really think to put the heater that's not going to get wet is maybe in this corner or something. I mean, it'd be nice to put it right in the middle down there, but it all gets splashed, you know, because the water just runs through the floor and splashes all over. Can't really put it down there because the heat rises. So yeah, I might have to stick it back there. We'll get it figured. As soon as I can get some more snaps in with wood screws, we could put the rest of this together. I only ended up with 3 of them. I was three long, 3 short, 3 long. I had an extra 3. Actually, I think I had an extra 5 or 6, but I dropped a bunch and couldn't find them. So come on back next week if you want. We'll get the front. I'm gonna pattern it with the plastic that I used for the sides because it's all one piece. It'll actually fit that whole thing. Actually, with as stretchy and weird as that canvas is, the pattern's not really going to be necessary. You know, what was it, 3/4 of an inch off, like from here to here versus here to here. The stretch in the fabric's gonna throw it off a lot more than that. But it'll still be nice to pattern in the zippers in there. You figure out exactly how high you want, draw them right on the plastic. And then I can also lay out the windows in there, 1, 2 windows, whatever. It's easier with the plastic on there versus trying to measure later on. Anyway, come on back next week. We'll get it finished up, get the heater turned on and everything. Heck, I don't know. Maybe we'll even take a shower together. Huh? You know, you don't know. And then back to the cabin. Down to cut more cedar trees, mill them up, and start finishing the inside. Can't wait. Can't wait for all of it. It's just all so much fun. All right, see you soon.